Today's race is a big one in the F1 My Team career mode. Today we're here for the British Grand Prix, my home race and the team's home race as well. And a race that I want to try and do well at and hopefully score some points. This will be the last race with 110 AI in qualifying based off your feedback from the last episode. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave that one linked up in the top right. But this weekend you can see the weather forecast is going to be dry. No rain forecast, which is great, so we can just focus on the dry weather. In terms of upgrades, of course, Red Bull now are clear out front with the latest patch. They've overtaken Mercedes and they've gone clear as well. McLaren improving quite a lot as they're right behind us as well. And also AlphaTauri making some upgrades in the midfield. We do have 2 ultimate upgrades though on the way. And to go with that, we've got a new livery for this race, as you can tell by the thumbnail and possibly the title. For this home Grand Prix, I've inverted the black from the center part of the car to white, therefore recreating the red, white and blue, the British flag, if you will. Some may say toothpaste, which is what I try to avoid this entire series, but still, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Here she is, a special one-off livery. If you guys really like it, let me know in the comments down below, and if it gets enough positive support, I may keep it for the rest of the season, or I may bring it back, you know, like for certain races and just kind of mix it up a little bit with the original livery. Either way, let me know in the feedback down below. I think it actually looks a lot better than I originally thought, and it kind of works, and it doesn't look too much like toothpaste in my eyes. So I'll be curious to hear what you guys have to think. If you like it, I'll rework it and just refine it a bit more for future races, and possibly a look into the future for season 4, but who knows. If you guys like the livery, then leave a like on the video. It helps me out, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe for daily F1 content as always, and my team, which is pretty much every other day on the channel. But with that said, let's have a look at the livery in action as we join Friday practice here at Silverstone. You can see under the sunshine, the British sunshine, pure summer weather here, enjoying the livery. And after practice we had a flawless session. We scored 5 out of 5 in all 3 programs, scoring maximum points along the way, and starting the weekend off in the best possible way as we jump into qualifying on Saturday. So here we are, the very last qualifying on 110 AI for now. We'll see how things progress heading into next season, but as you guys know, the AI are very, very, very fast over one lap, to the point where it's almost impossible to beat them. So you join me currently in Q1 at the end of my first push lap on the medium tyre, and the reason I've done this is to try and save a set of softs for later on, and I'm going to put a set of soft tyres on later on in Q1 if necessary to try and get the job done. Across the line we go though, and we are P9 ahead of Giovinazzi and Latifi, behind Tsunoda and Stroll. Unfortunately the lap wasn't enough and I had to go back out on a set of soft tyres. To be fair, we were safe, you know, P16 I think is safe if I'm not mistaken, but I wanted to go out again and make sure, and we put a set of soft tyres on. To be fair, it wasn't an incredible lap. I don't enjoy Silverstone on this game, especially with these cars. It's a lot more fun to drive with the default cars. I actually feel like these My Team cars with all of these upgrades are just a bit too fast, and they're faster than the track and the car and the circuit can handle. But across the line we go, and we do a high 23, and we stay P16, which is a little bit concerning, but there was enough improvement in the lap time to stay safe and get the job done. So 123.8 will get us through. Rosberg in P10 with a 22.6, which is 1.2 seconds faster, which is crazy. But yeah, in terms of Q1, both Alphas, both Williams and both Haas cars are out, and we can now move into Q2. Now you join me at the start of my push lap here on the soft tyre. So let's go for a full send. I'm going to commentate this lap so you guys get some feedback and some ideas. Down to turn 1 and then turn 2, they're both flat out, but with these cars I'm actually taking a very slight lift through turn 1 because there's too much speed, and a slight correction there through turn 2. Into 3, third gear throughout this entire complex, which feeds into turn 4. We've got Bottas in the way here, but hopefully he'll get over to one side. Short shifting out of turn 4, flat out through turn 5, and now we go with the DRS wide open down to Brooklands. Bring the car onto the curb, brake just after the 50, down to 5th, and then down to 4th for the apex part of the corner. Down to 3rd for Luffield, and quickly back up to 5th on a couple of short shifts. Use of the runoff curb as we then power down the old pit straight into Copse Corner. Bring the car right out to the curb, turn the nose in at the 50. Full commitment as we go flat out, but we have a bit of a moment and we're going to hit the wall.
Are you okay? That was a nasty hit. Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.
And it was a massive crash, not what we had planned. And to be fair, it was a very good first sector. We was actually a tenth and a half up on my Q1 best time, so already finding more lap time. And there was more in it in the second and third sectors. But unfortunately, our qualifying has come to an early end. So we're going to start the race from P16. Rosberg out as well, P11, 3/10 off making it through. So it just seems like this track maybe not best suited to our car, because Rosberg also not really showing any kind of, great pace. I do feel like, we've done a 23.8 in Q2. Rosberg done a 22.6 in Q1. So something not quite clicking for Nico in Q2. But still, I do believe we could have probably got P13 quite easily. That was definitely achievable. But either way, P16 for us, and we're out as we start our home Grand Prix with both cars in outside the top 10 in P11 and P16. So let's jump into the race and let's see what happens.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Norris, Lewis Hamilton and Bottas, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, Rosberg, Russell, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll, Ocon, Martinez, Nobuharu Matsushita and Antonio Giovinazzi, Latifi, Lundgaard, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
So P16 on the grid, and to be fair, not the best scenario for this race. I do feel like there was more pace in the car, and even on 110AI I think I could have qualified a bit higher up and closer to Rosberg. Having said that, P16 for us is going to be the starting position, which has been the trend really the last couple of races. Nonetheless, strategy wise, we're going to start on the soft tyres and then move on to mediums. The reason for this is because we need to keep pace in the first part of the race, and this is my top tip for you guys. Racing in offline races versus AI, the alternate strategy doesn't work. You're better off going with soft, medium, and, if anything, box a little bit earlier for that medium tyre and get an undercut. If you go medium soft, you're probably going to get dropped by the pack who are on the soft tyres. So I do recommend this strategy. It works pretty well for me. Fuel-wise, we're going to go 0.6, no rain forecast. So we're going to jump into it and turn this around because, again, we need the points, and I feel confident we can do a good job in the race trim. So let's see what happens. 110 AI, let's get into business. Okay, let's jump into it. A home Grand Prix at Silverstone. 5 lights are on. And we're underway. Quite a long 5 lights. But we're underway. It's not a bad start. Not a great one, but we'll be in the middle of the track into turn 1. Trying to have a look here and getting past Ocon. We may have a little lunge on the brakes as we look at Stroll as well. Steady, steady through turn 3. Rosberg up to P9. Good start from our teammate. We're on the outside here, side by side with Lance Stroll. We're going to get the momentum. And now we've got Russell and Sebastian Vettel side by side into Brooklands. This is going to be tight, trying to be a little bit cautious as we go into Luffield. I'm going to take the very tight line to edge ahead of Stroll. We'll just run him out of road on the exit. And we're now P14, so 2 places gained. Rosberg off to a seemingly good start as well. Now Cop's going to go for a downshift. I don't want to take too many risks early on. That's where we crashed in qualifying, of course. Let's see how we fare in Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel compared to the AI. Not too bad, although the final bit wasn't great. A little bit scruffy. Exit, not ideal. But look at the speed on the straight. Look at the engine power as we pull away from Lance Stroll. That is very encouraging, and that's a positive sign for us this race, that we can probably defend our position quite well. End of lap 1 though, and right now we're chilling. Both myself and Nico have gained places. Let's try and see if we can gain a couple more and get closer to those points. Also tyres as well. I've pushed the temperatures down for the race quite a bit because I don't want to overheat, especially the left rear. That's the one that tends to go, and that should give us a bit more better race performance on this tyre. So let's see, let's try and find a way to get past Sebastian Vettel. It probably doesn't help that we're stuck behind an Aston Martin, which has the best engine on the grid, but you saw how we pulled away from Stroll before. So there's no reason why we can't get Seb. Obviously now we're stuck in the DRS train, so any overtake we do make in this race has to be very efficient to not drop out of the DRS train, which is going to be very important in this race. So I have to really make sure I time it right and then don't fall out of the 1 second window of the car ahead. Right now I don't really see a place where I can pass Sebastian Vettel, to be honest. We're just kind of running in the train. I'm a little bit far back. I don't really have the pace, but we'll see. You never know. Things might open up. It does feel like the Ferrari's just struggling to hang on to the back of Rosberg, so there might be a separation in the train here very shortly. Tyres are starting to overheat a little bit, even with the lower temps. I'm just gradually building up that temp on the left-sided tyres. Vettel doesn't have DRS now though, so the train has broken a little bit. The two Ferraris also have fallen back from Rosberg, so the race is going to start to open up here. So we need to realistically pass Seb and get a bit more clean air ahead of us. Now we're going to have to pass Seb here. It's going to happen on the hanger straight, but what we've got to do is we've got to use a lot of battery to kind of get the slingshot and catch up to Russell, who's behind the two Ferraris. Again, we need to try and keep this race alive for ourselves. So let's see. Fell off a little bit there from Seb through the S's, wasn't able to really follow, but now we're going to use full engine mode here to close in on Seb and make the move up the inside. We get a bit more cleaner air now. Now we're going to have to drain the battery a little bit and see what kind of pace we have to see if we can close this gap to the cars ahead. So we're going to give it everything. Hopefully the tyres can hold on. I can't lie, I'm considering an early switch to the mediums. I'm just struggling to close this gap, and also whenever I push, my tyres overheat instantly. I'm finding it really hard to keep them under control. Now even the right side tyres are getting a bit hot. I think I might pit early. I think I'm going to pit this lap. I'm going to try and go for the undercut. The Ferraris are battling, and this is for P10 right now, so there is a point at stake. So I'm going to go ahead and gamble. Let's see if this pays off or not. Easy does it on the pantry. We don't want to speed. It's a very, very slow pit. So we're going to go mediums. Now I know the mediums, at least with regular cars, you know, default cars on the game without upgrades, they tend to go the whole race. You can do the whole 25 laps. If you pit on lap 1, you can go to the end. And you don't have temperature issues in principle. But these cars are so fast, I just don't know. But surely, I think I'll be okay on the mediums, and I can just drive flat out. Here we go though.
Go, go, go.
Good stop. 2 seconds right on the nose. That's the best we could have. Now we're going to have nice clean air for about 1 to 2, maybe even 3 laps. So we've got to try and give it everything.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. You'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
So I'm going to try and use up most of the battery. Tyres are still a little bit out of temp. But yeah, we're going to use most of the battery and see if we can have some strong laps here. So I'm going to focus up. So we've got some cars in the pit lane. Let's see if we can gain anything. Leclerc is in there as well, which is, of course, one of the Ferraris that we're racing. So let's see if the undercut has paid off. I think it's going to be close. Personal best on that lap in clean air without DRS. And there is Leclerc. So we've done it. We've managed to undercut Charles and get out ahead of him. Lovely. And now Sainz should be in. So in theory, we should be ahead of the two Ferraris. Now, can I drop Leclerc out of DRS range? That would be perfect. But I think he's going to be running full power out of the pit lane. So it's going to be quite tough to keep him behind. I should have enough on this straight to keep him behind for now. There we go. And more cars in the pit lane. Some of them are still staying out there, which is interesting. But let's see if we've gained anything. Surely we're ahead of Sainz. We've got to be. This was a strong lap though. Personal best again. Let's see where we are. I think that Sainz right there. Yes, it is. The car gets so light through 1 and 2, man. I've got no confidence in the back end whatsoever. But we've cleared the Ferraris. Schumacher might be our way out of here. We've got Rosberg ahead on the hard tyre. Ferraris are battling, so this might be our chance to pull away. So I'm going to keep pushing with the battery. Okay, let's pass Schumacher here. He's going to pit anyway, but we've got a chance with DRS and ERS to get a massive amount of straight line speed. We'll go to the outside and use the racing line. A little bit wide there. Well, we've got Rosberg on the hard tyres ahead of us, which is interesting as the final cars pit. The Ferraris seem pretty strong right now. I can't seem to shake them off one bit. They're right on my gearbox the whole way through the lap. Luckily, our straight line speed is pretty decent. But let's see, we've got more cars in the pits. And this should move us in the top 10 as we cut turn 1 there. There we go. Not sure if anyone else is yet to pit, but we're in the points right now, and that's all that matters in this race. Personal best again. That's kind of the pace, really. You've seen a few times now me set a few personal bests, and it's only by the smallest margin. I'm already maxed out on pace, so I don't have anything else really to give, unless I just stop talking and really focus like a league race. But obviously I want to give you guys some form of entertainment. Rosberg, though, we're slowly reeling him in. His pace is pretty decent, though, but I don't mind this. You know, this race with the difficulty, if you look at both cars, this is kind of what I want. You know, both cars to be pretty similar, you know, for pace on track where we are. That's realistic. So I don't mind. It's when it's one extreme or the other, when I'm really far off or when I'm really far ahead and Rosberg's nowhere or just completely dominant. So I don't mind this, but we'll keep pushing. I think there's a bit more pace. We've got Russell and then both Ferraris behind. So maybe they can start battling and that would give us a chance for a breakaway. Well, Sainz is going to get me here. Had a pretty decent run, but he was just closer to us. So we'll let Sainz take the lead for now. I'm just going to follow him, see what kind of pace he can run at. Maybe he's faster and he can drag us along for the ride. Okay, this is definitely the play. Letting Sainz drag us along and then we make it up on the straights with DRS and ERS is the way to go. Pace is very strong right now. I'm finding like another couple of tenths a lap right now, and we are starting to close in on Rosberg. Obviously the timing is going to be important because we need to make sure we don't sabotage Rosberg's race by doing this. So I want to make sure that we get P9 and P10 in this race as a team and not the Ferraris. Now this race is opening up a little bit. Rosberg has caught up to Yuki Tsunoda up ahead. I'm pretty sure it is. Or it might be an Alpine, either way. I think we may have another position on the cards here. We're currently on for a personal best. Sainz is still dragging us along. I know there's not been many updates, but just been driving flat out, you know, with the pace every lap. I might be wrong. The Alpine may be a lap car, but I'm pretty sure it isn't because he would have let Rosberg by now. Okay, it's not an Alpine, never mind. It's Alfa Romeo, so there goes any hope. I was confused there for a second. I was wondering what that was, but yeah, we're reaching the final stage of the race. I don't think we're going to catch Nico, to be honest. I think he's a little bit too quick and a bit too far ahead. We're moments away from the AI starting to deploy their final kind of engine mode, their final boss mode. So I need to pass Sainz soon. I'm just giving it the time I need and waiting for the right moment. So the pace is decent. We're keeping it up. I just want to see for 1 or 2 more laps if we can get any closer to Rosberg. If not, we're going to pass Sainz and just call it a day and try and get P10 in this race.
Okay, some information on signs. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Okay, there's our cue. We need to pass him now. Sainz with car issues. He's going to be slow and off the pace. So we don't want to waste any time stuck behind him. So it's crucial that we overtake him now, ASAP. So here we go. Winding up. Hopefully he can hold up Russell and Leclerc through Brooklands and Luffield. We're going to breeze past.
Yellow flag.
Oh my god, Bottas is out. The championship leader's out of the race. Oh my god, that is huge. I'm not on for any points today of any kind of, you know, substance, but still Bottas out. Sainz now with issues. Hopefully he can hold up Russell. We're going to try and race off. There's not going to be a safety car at this stage. This could be the breakaway we need to at least get a couple of points in this race and a couple of points back on Bottas around one of our worst tracks. Okay, Verstappen fastest lap. That's usually the sign that the AI are now in full push mode, and I can tell because Rosberg's starting to pull away from me. And also Leclerc just starting to close in again. Luckily we've got plenty of battery to use. We're just going to bring this home now in P9. That's all we want, and there'll be a double points finish for both of us. And here we go then, last sector, last lap of the race. Currently, well, I was on for a personal best, but the fact I don't have DRS means we're probably not going to do it. It's going to be a double points finish though. Obviously qualifying was not ideal, but we recovered the P9 around one of our worst tracks of the entire calendar. So for me this is a massive result. With Bottas out, we actually gain a couple of points back, which is great. So we've got a chance heading into the second half of the season.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Now you can tell the balance has shifted because Bottas retiring, Verstappen winning and getting a fastest lap, it all just points the finger, and you can see the new patch has shifted the balance in Red Bull's favour. A 1-2 for them here today this afternoon. Maximum points. We finish in 8th and 9th, and you can see, looking at the fastest laps, which are usually set on the last lap of the race, you know, we weren't in the race today pace-wise, but we've done a good job. We managed to time the overtakes, the undercut worked out perfectly on the strategy, and we got a P9 from P16 on the grid. Starting from the next race, we will knock the AI difficulty down in qualifying to keep it a bit more fair and interesting for myself. But anyway, here's your top 10. Verstappen, Perez, Norris, Hamilton, Gasly, Tsunoda, P6, good drive from him, Ricciardo, P7, Rosberg, myself and Leclerc. Missing out on the points, Russell, Sainz, Vettel, Stroll, Ocon, Latifi, Lundgaard, Giovinazzi, Schumacher, Mazepin, Matsushita and Bottas, the only retirement 3 laps from the end. Now, let's look at the driver standings because things are going to change moving forward into the second half of the season. Verstappen is the man to watch and he's 3 points behind Bottas. We are 56 points off the top and 53 behind Verstappen. Rosberg still P6 but equal on points with Perez, but Sergio fighting back of course with the improved Red Bull car this weekend. So let's see what happens in the second half of the season. Constructors wise, we're still P3. We've managed to edge out a bit more of a gap to Aston Martin, and I think the chase is on now. Red Bull are going to be hunting down Mercedes, and we've got to try and run with them. So let's move into upgrades and let's try and stick with them.
How did it feel to be racing on home turf?
Insane, really good fun. You know, Silverstone's always a great track, and the fans are insane. It's a home Grand Prix. It doesn't get any better than that.
Why do you think you weren't as quick as your teammate today?
I mean, I just think Rosberg's a really good driver. You know, Nico, that's what we brought him in for those kind of performances, and he delivered today.
Appreciate your time.
So yeah, another race done and dusted, and we actually outscore Valtteri by a point, which is awesome. We look at the rivalry breakdown, we're still 4 points adrift, and I think with the qualifying adjustment, hopefully things will start to sway in our favour a little bit. Acclaim-wise, no massive shifts here and there, as you guys know by now at this stage of the championship, and you know, these kind of levels, not much is going to really happen now. Cash-wise, we should get a full payout from all of our sponsors, I believe, and we do indeed get that, including the new sponsor, Atlantic. And to go with that, I think there should be a few damages as always, but not too bad. A decent weekend all round. Let's move into those upgrades. Now, before jumping into upgrades, we have a personnel department event, which is called Staff Sessions. There's a proposal on the table to invest some time and money into running a program of one-to-one sessions with staff members, with the goal being to improve overall mental health. The idea is that this ought to translate to an overall boost of productivity. Is this something you want to pursue? And I'm going to say absolutely yes. Now with that done, and hopefully the staff's mental health looking a bit better, which is absolutely paramount nowadays of course, and as you guys know, mental health a big part of all of us, we're going to move into activities. So let's have a little look. We've got some reaction training for Rosberg, which is going to be great. We'll throw that on there straight away. We can also go with, I'm thinking, some durability equipment upgrade, chassis department focus as well to improve those. And now we can move into upgrades, so let's have a look. So R&D wise, aero's looking pretty decent. We've got the ultimate engine upgrade, so I feel like the chassis needs a little bit of work. We're slacking a little bit here, so can we afford anything? We've got one upgrade on the way. The biggest discount we have is the master cylinder, so let's go for that. That is on the brakes, I think. Do I want that? I know one of these upgrades makes the brakes lock up quite a lot, but I'm going to go for it and take a chance. Hopefully it's not that one. That will arrive in 42 days time. Look at the improvement, by the way, with the upgrades we have. If all the upgrades arrive on the chassis, we should be the best team. So there's a lot of good stuff on the way here and good potential. But anyway, let's skip ahead and let's see if everything arrives before Hungary. And there we go then, job done. Everything has arrived and the car is going to be quite substantially improved. You can see we're second place now behind Red Bull. Seems like they've brought some upgrades again, and we'll see what happens after, you know, this kind of break and we go into the next episode. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. One more thing I want to mention though before we leave, I want to say do you want me to stick with this livery and run it for the rest of the season, or should we go back to the original one? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious to hear your feedback. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it from me here today. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. Leave a like, subscribe for more daily F1 content. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.